What's going on, fellas? What's going on, ladies? I wanted to come and talk a little bit about why men don't commit to women. And, I listen to women talk about this subject, sometimes, and I've never heard any of them give the right answer. Now, there may be a plethora of reasons as to why a man won't commit, and some of those reasons may be similar to why a woman won't commit to a man. But I would say some of the more important reasons women never get right. Um, In the first one, I would say, and it doesn't matter the age of the man for this first one, but I would say just the financial risk of it all. It is really risky for a man to marry a woman, especially financially. Women don't carry the same level of risk. I would say maybe a woman carries the risk of having a child and the man leaving, and usually, the woman gets left with the child. Sometimes men do, but usually it's the woman. But for men, before even a child plays a part, we risk our finances. It's a heavy risk for us financially to marry, and men are uncomfortable with making that risk because the chances of divorce happening are high. Granted, you go into a marriage hoping that you don't get a divorce, but being realistic, divorce happens. So it's definitely a thought that crosses your mind. And no man wants to part ways with his finances, especially if it's something that he built himself. No man wants to have to pay alimony. Women totally benefit from that. The court benefits women in that sense. So financially, it's just a heavy risk for us to take on, especially if the future is uncertain. It's a risk. It's like gambling. You're hoping that you pick the right woman. You hope that 3 years down the road, this woman isn't somebody totally different than who you married. Granted, women take that same level of risk, but they don't take it from a financial point of view. You see, a man selecting a woman could be the biggest decision of his life because it can push him further in life. It can help him reach higher heights, or it can totally destroy his life, destroy him financially. So the risk of marriage is so much more higher for a man than it is for a woman. So it makes it hard for us to commit. It makes us hard to want to take that step. So women never really understand that. It's almost a fear. It is a fear. It's a fear of losing everything that you worked for, losing everything that you built, or having to split that with somebody. You look at Jeff Bezos. His wife instantly becomes like a billionaire because of a failed marriage. And that's not the only thing, though. Another thing that women never get right is the fact that, and this is more for younger men, when we're younger as men, it is a lot for us to commit to a woman because it creates a lot of pressure for us, especially if we're not ready. We have to provide, protect, and to lead. That is a lot of responsibility. And if a man is not confident in his purpose yet, if he's not confident in his finances yet, if he's not confident in his direction, commitment seems more like a trap rather than a partnership. So for young men, commitment could be scary because it could be too much pressure. If we aren't at a place in life where we're comfortable with taking on that level of commitment. Now, being an older man, you may be more, financially responsible. You may have built wealth for yourself. You may have the resources to make you feel confident with committing. But as a young man, and that could be from 20 to, 35, even though when you hit 30, you should be, as a man, you should start getting some money in a in a account, you should be starting to build some wealth, but not all of us. Some of us have had to start over. Maybe we have built money, lost it all. I've been there twice in my life. Luckily, it happened to me in my 20s, my late 20s, and I believe at 30. So twice in my life, I had built great wealth for myself and lost it all. And during those times, I was definitely insecure about my position, my role as a man, because I was in a relationship and now I'm burning through all my savings to afford things. I'm leaning more on my girl at the time to help with finances. So I'm feeling less like a man because I don't have the finances and the resources to provide like I once did. So that can make a man feel insecure. Doesn't make him less of a man. But if you're any type of alpha male, if you're any type of real man, I would like to say you want to be able to provide for your woman, for your family. You want to provide. And when you don't have the ability to provide, you feel less than. That's just a fact. It's in our nature to, provide, protect, and to lead. So when we can't do one of those three things, we feel less of like a man. So those are one of the main reasons as to why a man may not commit. Another reason may be he's not healed. And this could be the same for a woman. He may not be healed. I've been there before where, I didn't want to commit because I knew I was still struggling from a breakup. You know, I made a bad decision one time and jumped into a rebound relationship after a long-term relationship, and I wasn't present in that relationship. My mind was elsewhere. I was thinking about my ex. I knew I shouldn't have been in that relationship. In the very beginning, I didn't. In a rebound relationship, you think you're healed. You think you're good. You think you're ready to move on. But it was after about 4 or 5 months, I realized that I'm not healed, that I'm rebounding right now. I got love for this girl, but I can't really give her the attention that she needs right now because I'm still thinking about what was, so not being healed, dealing with a past breakup. Because to be honest, women tend to lead more with their emotions, but I think men can sometimes be more emotional, especially when it comes to heartbreak, because it's hard for us in general to allow ourselves to become vulnerable. So when we do allow a woman to enter our vulnerability, when we do break down our walls to allow a woman to get in, if she breaks that, if she hurts that vulnerability, it hurts us. It hurts us because we don't allow a lot of people to see that side of us. Versus women, I think they build a toughness to themselves. They still get hurt, they still cry, they still do whatever, but usually women have more support when they go through things like that. They have a friend group, they have their parents, they lean on people because they have that ability to be vulnerable in that way with their friends. And their friends, women tend to crowd around each other when one of them's been hurt. Versus a man may not reach out to his friends about how he's feeling about a breakup. Like when I went through my breakup, I didn't really reach out to a lot of friends. Now they reached out to me because they know I went through something, especially something that I was a part of for many years. They reached out to me because they knew that I couldn't have been good. Only a, that only a good friend is going to reach out to make sure you're straight. So they reached out to me, but it wasn't because I was reaching out to them like, "Hey man, I want to talk. I'm going through XYZ. I'm feeling like XYZ." It just isn't natural for us to be like that. And if you are like that, that's great. That's great that you're able to be vulnerable like that. You're able to express yourself to your friends like that as a man. But I know for me, it was hard. it was hard. It was hard. So I dealt a lot with the grief by myself. I got through it by myself. I struggled by myself. I cried by myself. During that time, it was one of the first times I ever talked to my parents about being hurt, about anything. I don't really show emotions like that to people. I kind of internalize everything. I handle things myself. I get through things by myself. I don't really express how I'm feeling. I don't really tell people how I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. I internalize everything. If I go to anybody with anything, is God, but not people. So a lot of men are like me. A lot of men are like that. So when we get hurt, we hurt. We hurt. We hurt more than women do. I think I read studies once that says that talked about men take longer to get over a breakup than women do. And it's because we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable with everybody. So when we give you our vulnerability, it's special. It's special. But that also means the hurt hurts a lot more. And like I said, women, they get used to being hurt because they're usually a lot easier. They more easily why can I talk? It's easier for a woman to give her vulnerability than it is for a man. So they practice. I don't want to say they practice like they choosing to get hurt, but they're a lot more used to being hurt a lot more often than men are. So they get familiar with dealing with pain. They know what to do when they feel that kind of pain. Men don't. Because some of us never fall in love like that. I've been in love maybe one time in my life where women have possibly been in love two, three times in their life. So it's just different. It's just different. And women don't really understand. They don't really understand that. So a lot of times it just comes down to a man not being healed as to why he won't commit to a woman. And another reason as to why a man may not commit is because of options. And this is similar to women, though women usually have a lot more options than we do, but some men have options. And it makes it hard for them to want to commit because they may have a ton of girls reaching out to them. They may have a ton of girls that are trying to talk to them. So honestly, it's better for him not to commit and then hurt your feelings. I mean, he could be a real dirtbag and date you while he's also dealing with a whole bunch of women on the side. So if he's being real with you about not wanting to commit, and you should give him a little grace because he's being honest and genuine about where he is in his dating life. Don't crucify a man for being honest about seeing multiple women. But, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I never hear women get the real reasons as to why men won't commit. And sometimes the understanding needs to come from a man. If you want to understand a man, sometimes you need to ask a man or hear from a man. Sometimes women live in this kind of like echo chamber to where they try to understand men from other women. And I don't ever try to act like I know women or how women feel or anything like that. It may be some surface level stuff just from experience. I understand how women operate, but I never speak to their mind or why they behave a certain way because I don't know that. I'm not a female. So I hope women hear this and they get a little understanding as to why we may not commit. If you're talking to somebody and he's not committing, these some of these reasons may be the reasons why. But it's on you to know your partner. It's on you to have that communication with them. It's on you to talk to them, to get a real understanding as to why he won't commit why he won't marry you, why it's been 7 years and he won't propose, why he always has excuses as to why he won't marry you. You just may not be the one for him. Maybe he's in that relationship hoping that things will change or he'll feel get some type of feeling towards you, but it's on you to figure out what those reasons are. It's on you to ask him. It's on you to get that clarity. But I wanted to give some ideas as to why he may not be committing or why men sometimes don't commit in general. But I thank you guys for checking out this video. I hope it was some valuable information. I hope it was a good talk. If you guys have anything that you feel differently about or some things that I miss, lay it down in the comment, man. Write it in the comment. I will respond. I usually always respond to your first message. Sometimes it could be hard to respond to multiple messages from one single person, but as long as you put one message, I'll respond to that first message as best as I can. But I love engagement. I love hearing your guys' thoughts, even if it's not the same as mine, even if, you have conflicting views. I want to hear what you guys think because it helps me in my overall understanding, of my own thoughts. It helps shapes my own thoughts, hearing the thoughts of others. So I thank you guys for checking out this video. Please subscribe. Please hit the like. I appreciate it. I love you guys. It would be so nice of you if you did that. Hit the subscribe, hit the notifications, hit the like. It's so easy and it's free. It's free. But I thank you guys for checking out this video. You could have been spending your time anywhere else in this world, but you chose to spend it with me. And I'm appreciative of that. But I thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm going to have more on the way. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.